Words filled with love. There are some words we speak because we have to. Some words we speak because the world expects them. And then there are words filled with love. The kind that tremble before leaving your lips. The kind that sit in your chest for years before they find courage. The kind that can either build a forever or break you completely. This is my confession, not about how I loved you, but about how every word I ever said to you was filled with love, even the ones that sounded ordinary. I wasn't supposed to fall in love, not like this, not slowly, not quietly, not in a way that made me question everything I thought I understood about myself. The first time I saw you, it wasn't dramatic. There were no violins, no sudden realization, no thunder in the sky. You were just standing there, calm, thoughtful, distant in your own world. But something about you felt different. It wasn't your face. It wasn't your voice. It was the silence around you, peaceful, steady, safe. And I don't know why, but I wanted to be part of that silence. Our first conversation was simple. You asked me something ordinary. I answered. You smiled politely. That was it. But later that night, I remembered your smile. Why? Out of all the people I spoke to that day, why did your smile stay? I told myself it meant nothing, just attraction, just curiosity, just imagination. But days passed, and I kept noticing you, the way you listened, more than you spoke, the way you looked at people directly when they talked, the way you never tried to, hard to impress anyone. You were effortless, and that scared me, because when something feels effortless, it feels rare, and rare things are dangerous. They make you hope, and hope is the beginning of vulnerability. I didn't tell anyone, not my friends, not even myself properly. I acted normal around you, friendly, balanced, unbothered. But inside, I was memorizing everything. The tone of your voice when you said my name. The way your eyebrows lifted slightly when you were surprised. The small laugh you tried to hide when something genuinely amused you. Every detail became important. Every interaction became significant. And suddenly, every word I spoke to you carried weight. Are you okay? That question wasn't casual. It meant, I notice when you're quiet. Did you eat? That wasn't random. It meant, I care about your health. Text me when you get home. That wasn't politeness. It meant, your safety matters to me. You probably heard simple sentences, but I was speaking a different language, a language filled with love. The problem with loving quietly is this. You become fluent in emotion, but silent in confession. I wanted to tell you so many things. I wanted to say, when you
walk into a room, my heart changes rhythm. I wait for your messages even when I pretend I don't. You calm storms inside me that you don't even know exist. But instead, I said, yeah, that's cool. Sure, no problem. I'm fine. Words covered the truth, and I became good at hiding. One evening, we sat together longer than usual. The sky was turning orange. The world felt slower. You were talking about your dreams, your plans, your fears, and I watched you speak so openly, so honestly, and something inside me broke, not in pain, in realization. I wasn't just attracted to you, I was invested, deeply, dangerously, emotionally. You said something that day that changed everything. You said, I don't think anyone really understands me. And without thinking, I replied, I do. You looked at me differently after that, not dramatically, just deeper, like you were searching my face for proof. And I meant it. I did understand. You quiet wasn't emptiness, it was depth. Your distance wasn't coldness, it was caution. Your strength wasn't pride, it was protection. And I loved every part of it. But love without confession becomes heavy. I started feeling jealous of things that shouldn't matter. When someone else made you laugh longer than I could. When your attention drifted elsewhere. When you didn't text back quickly. And I hated myself for it because I had no right. You weren't mine. You never promised anything. And yet my heart acted like it had ownership. I remember the night everything almost spilled out. You were upset. Your voice sounded tired. You said you felt alone. And something inside me screamed, you're not alone. I'm here. I've always been here. But I didn't say it. I softened my tone instead. I offered comfort carefully because I was afraid. Afraid that if I spoke too honestly, you would step back. And losing you completely felt worse than loving you secretly. Do you know what it feels like to hold back love? It feels like standing in the rain without moving. You're already soaked, already vulnerable, but you refuse to run because somehow the rain feels beautiful too. That's what loving you felt like, beautiful, but terrifying. There were moments when I thought you felt it too. The way your voice changed when you talked to me alone. The way your eyes stayed on mine a second longer than necessary. The way you opened up about things you didn't tell others. But uncertainty is cruel. It makes you doubt your own intuition. Maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I was building castles out of kindness. Maybe you were just being you, and I was the only one drowning in meaning. So I made a decision. If I couldn't confess fully, I would at least let my words carry truth, not dramatic declarations, not pressure, just honesty. I started saying things more openly. I like talking to you. I feel comfortable around you. You matter to me. You never rejected those words. You never questioned them. Sometimes you even smiled softly. And those small reactions kept my hope alive. But hope is fragile. One day, you mentioned someone else, not romantically, just casually, but I felt something twist inside me. Fear, the possibility that I had waited too long, that my silence had cost me everything, that my words filled with love were never loud enough. That night, I didn't sleep. I realized something painful. Love hidden for too long becomes regret, and I didn't want regret, even if the truth hurt, even if the answer wasn't what I wanted. I needed to speak. So here is my confession. Every "how was your day" meant I want to be part of. Every "be careful" meant your life is precious to me. Every time I stayed quiet instead of arguing meant I'm afraid to lose you. Every joke I made was just the way to stay close. Every word I chose carefully was filled with love. And maybe you knew, maybe you felt it in the pauses, in the tone, in the silence between sentences. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe I hid it too well. But I can't hide anymore, because loving you quietly has changed me. It taught me patience. It taught me vulnerability. It taught me that real love isn't loud. It's steady, consistent, intentional. And even if you don't choose me, even if your heart belongs somewhere else, I need you to know something. You were loved, truly, gently, without pressure, without condition, without expectation. If my words ever felt warmer when I spoke to you, it wasn't imagination. If my eyes softened when you were around, it wasn't coincidence. If I stayed when others left, it wasn't convenience. It was love, pure and simple. I don't know what will happen next. Maybe you'll read this and understand. Maybe you'll read this and step away. Maybe nothing will change. But at least now my heart is no longer silent. My words are no longer disguised. They are clear. They are honest. They are filled with love. And they always were. Words filled with love. Part 2. When you finally heard me, I didn't expect you to reply so soon. After I confessed, after I poured out every hidden meaning behind my simple sentences, I thought you would need time, distance, silence. Instead, my phone lit up that same night. Your name on my screen felt heavier than usual. My hands were shaking, not because I feared rejection, but because I feared indifference. Rejection hurts. Indifference destroys. Your message was short at first. I read everything. That was it. 4 words. 4 words that felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. I didn't reply immediately. I couldn't. My heart was loud. My mind was louder. And then the second message came. I didn't know it was this deep. That sentence cut me gently, not cruelly, just honestly. You didn't know. All those months, all those careful words, all that hidden love, and you didn't know. But maybe that was My fault. I disguise my feelings so well that even you, the one I loved, couldn't see through me. Or maybe you did see it, but you weren't ready to name it. You asked to meet, not to text, not to call, to meet. And that terrified me more than any message could, because written words are safe. You can hide behind them. Face-to-face truth has no shield. When I saw you the next day, you looked different. Not physically, but emotionally. There was something thoughtful in your eyes, something softer. You didn't greet me casually. You didn't joke like usual. You just looked at me for a long moment and said, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I wanted to laugh or cry or both, because I had told you 100 times, just not directly, but I understood what you meant. Why didn't I say the actual words? Why did I hide behind care and kindness? Because saying I love you feels like handing someone a loaded weapon and trusting them not to use it against you. And I wasn't brave enough before. You sat beside me quietly. There was no anger in your voice, no accusation, just confusion. I thought you were just kind, you said, and I smiled painfully. That's the tragedy of loving gently. It can look like simple kindness. You told me something then that I never expected. There were moments I wondered. You admitted. Sometimes I felt something different when you looked at me. My heart stopped. You did? I asked. You nodded slowly, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to assume. Two careful hearts, standing inches apart, both afraid to misread the other. You confessed something too, not as dramatic, not as intense, but honest. I care about you a lot. I just didn't know if it was that love, the word we were both circling. I didn't pressure you. I didn't demand clarity, because love forced is not love returned. And I loved you too much to rush your heart. So I asked one question instead. When you imagine your life moving forward, am I there? You didn't answer immediately. You looked down. You thought carefully. And that silence was the longest of my life. Finally, you said, yes. I just never defined how. That was enough. Not a grand declaration, not a fairy tale confession, but a door left open. And sometimes an open door is more powerful than a dramatic entrance. We didn't suddenly become something official that day. We didn't label it. We didn't promise forever. We simply agreed to stop pretending, to stop hiding meaning behind simple words, to speak more honestly, to explore whatever this was together. The days after that felt different, not louder, not dramatic, just lighter. I didn't have to calculate my tone anymore. I didn't have to disguise my care. When I said I miss you, you didn't treat it casually. When you said I feel safe with you, I felt as it deeply. We were no longer guessing. We were building. But love, even mutual love, isn't effortless. There were moments of doubt, moments when you pulled.
Changed with your presence, how much reassurance I secretly needed. You might see me differently, and that possibility scared me more than silence ever could. So I became the version of myself that was easiest to keep. Low maintenance, understanding, emotionally mature. But maturity is not silence. Maturity is not pretending. Maturity is not swallowing your truth just to stay loved. I didn't know that. Then I thought love meant endurance. So I endured. Even when I wanted to say, please don't disappear on me. Please be clear with me. Please don't make me guess how I matter to you. Instead, I smiled and said, it's okay. But, honey, it wasn't always okay. Some nights I held my phone like it was a lifeline, not because I expected a message, but because I hoped for one. Some mornings I woke up with your name in my chest before I even opened my eyes. That kind of attachment is dangerous when you never admit it out loud because it grows in the dark. I didn't want to be dependent, so I acted detached. I didn't want to seem needy, so I became distant. I didn't want to scare you away, so I scared myself instead. I told myself, this is fine, this is normal, this is what loving quietly looks like. But love should never make you feel alone while you're still in it, honey. I was alone in my feelings for a long time, not because you left me there, but because I never invited you in. And now that I'm finally writing this, I realize how unfair that was to both